Mortgage Coach community, what's up? Welcome to the Mortgage Coach Tuesday interview. I have some amazing guests today. I've got Jacob Gibbs, our Director of Technology. In the second half of the call, Jacob and I are going to get into mortgage strategies and just help you guys go to the next level with being advisors. First half of the call, what we're going to get into right now is announcing the winner of the Bestimonial Contest that we've had. We're going to do more than just announce the winner, though. We're going to talk about, what we've learned from this experiment that we did called Bestimonial Contest, and then we will announce a winner. Helping me do that, we've got three judges. We've got Scott Harris, CEO, founder of Social Survey. What's up, Scott?
What's going on? Thanks for inviting me. Thanks for letting us be a part of this.
Hey, thanks.
It's right in our alley. We love it.
Yeah, well, thank you for donating an Apple Watch. So that was a super gracious gift.
I just got my first Apple Watch. I don't know.
That's your first Apple Watch? Oh, dude.
First one,
yeah. Let's go offline after this, and I'll give you three reasons you need to like it, and I'll give you some tips.
Right.
So guys, I'm in love with our integration, Scott, by the way. It's so fun showing that in the marketplace and talking about it. So thank you to you and your team on that. I'm going to have you go third, Scott. So
okay.
You're going to get to hear who two other people picked as winners before you cast your vote and share your why. We've got Justin Tucker. Justin is the Chief Marketing Officer of WES, a division of WFG Title. What's up, Justin?
How's it going, Dave? If I'm going to join a call with you, I got to give a little fist bump. That's.
Yeah. Let's do two fist bumps.
All right.
All right. So Justin is a Portland brother. He's just a really special marketing leader on the planet. I was going to say in the mortgage and real estate space, but I think that what he brings to the table transcends mortgage and real estate. Part of what led to this call today is the introduction to Brittany, who I'm going to bring on in just a minute, and then your new podcast. What's the name of the podcast for everybody?
We have a show called The Soapbox, which is basically just our quest to help marketing suck just a little bit less. So we kind of rant and find things that drive us nuts or get under our skin, but use those as lessons to learn and grow.
So guys, how do you like that? Lessons on how to make marketing suck less. So the dude's cool, and you guys got to check it out. There was a rant, or I guess a soapbox, between Brittany, Justin, and his partner in crime, Justin too. And they were talking about a commercial that Chick-fil-A did. This great brand. They create wow. I mean, everybody loves Chick-fil-A, but they kind of manufactured a testimonial and commercial. And Brittany gave her feedback, and that's what led to this call. So Brittany Hodak, one of the newest leaders in the mortgage coach community. What's up?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. So I am super pumped on this experiment that you and I did. We didn't get as many people entering into the contest, playing the game, but I have a thesis on why not. But I think we're going to come out of this contest that we did this month, learning a lot and helping mortgage and real estate professionals take it to the next level with how they market their reviews and testimonials. What do you think, Brittany?
I think so too, yes. I saw a lot of great conversations around the Bestimonial hashtag in the group, and I agree. I hope that this call will give some really useful feedback to everyone in the community moving forward.
Right on, Brittany. So why don't we start with what is the Bestimonial Contest like? If anybody's watching this and they're like, wait a minute, I'm on the Mortgage Coach Tuesday call. I come here every Tuesday. I've got my, what is it? But just for anybody who just doesn't know exactly what we're doing here, how would you describe it?
So I would describe this as a challenge that we put out to the mortgage coach community for the month of July to take a testimonial and make it relevant to someone who's scanning your social page. A lot of times when people get testimonials, we sort of think just because they make us feel great, they're going to make someone else feel great too. When in reality, if you use a testimonial in the wrong context, it can come across as bragging. It can come across as just something that is irrelevant information, right? Like I'm why do I care what somebody else's experience was with you when I'm just here looking for information for myself? But when used correctly, testimonials are an amazing tool to build social proof, to help build confidence in what it is that you're doing, and showcase why you're a leader in your community and in your space. So our challenge was for people to share a testimonial in a creative, fun way that wasn't just your run-of-the-mill, I'm posting the words that someone else said. So we issued a challenge. We said it could be video, it could be graphics, it could be text, it could be anything you want, just to get across the point that you're doing an amazing job serving people in your community and you want to help spread the news.
Love it. So the only cliff note I would put in that is, while we called it Bestimonial, we really opened it up to a review or a testimonial. Someone else saying something great for you, about you. So this other person, this client that's experienced your service, said something wonderful about you on digital media. You know, could have been the social survey platform, could have been Yelp, could have been Zillow. And then of course it could have been you asked someone, you know, hey, give me a testimonial. And they gave you an email, they did a video. It could be any way of collecting it, but it's this clients saying great things, and then us wanting to make sure everybody's like, hey, check me out. They like me too. And again, we see that ranging from people that literally just, like, it's a news feed of testimonials, to forwarding things in awkward ways. And we want to shine a light. And here's the thing I learned that myself, I don't know how to do it. Like we have thousands of testimonials at Mortgage Coach. We have hundreds of video testimonials. And I learned that, one, we don't promote them as much as we should. And we really aren't confident about how to even do it. So like I learned just how incompetent I am and how much better we can do in this process. So Brittany, let's do this. I am going to share my screen and pull up some of what we considered the best. So we had Greg Anderson. Greg is a top producing, he's like the 0.5% of the 1%. Top producer in Seattle market. It's created thousands of TCAs, so he delivers an uncommon level of service and value, and he has his way of doing it. So we had Greg as a finalist. We had Sean McDowell, and this was cool. You know, he brought his daughter on. They talked about, you know, a success story. I don't know about you guys, but I'm like, I like this guy. You know, I like his kid. I like his family. I like the way he does business. Definitely someone that I would like and someone that I'd respect. So a finalist. We had Josh Metal, and I don't think he needs much introduction. He's producing branch manager. I just interviewed him just a couple days ago. I think it might have been this week. And it was all about, hey, Josh, you and your team are on track. I think they closed 142 loans last month, and they're on track to close over 1,200 loans for the year. And they generate 10,000 online leads through their content marketing. So, the guy is clearly a big success story when it comes to marketing in the mortgage industry. And he interviewed a client, which I thought was super cool. And then we had Denise Donahue. You know, I interviewed Denise recently. She is a top producer out of the Dallas market, has done thousands of total cost analysis. So these are all loan officers that deliver an uncommon level of exceptional service and exceptional borrower education. And she did some cool stuff. You know, she celebrated the fact that she got 125 reviews on Zillow. So those are the finalists, everybody. One more footnote before I have you share your thoughts on this, Brittany. Denise and I did an interview on how she is helping first-time home buyers. No, she's educating first-time home buyers and going customer first. So like she's going out in front of her realtors, educating first-time home buyers, using Mortgage Coach, of course, rep versus own, and then she's bringing them back to her realtors. So super cool. Shout out to Denise for that. So Brittany, you're up. Whether you just want to say this is who I picked, or whether you want to give some commentary, I would just say you got a few minutes to tell us what you liked, why, and who you picked.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the great recap. So when we were setting up this challenge a few weeks ago, I said that one of the criteria that I was going to use to make my decision was what would stop the scrolling, right? So I'm on my phone, I'm going through Instagram or Facebook. What's going to make me stop and say, oh, I want to learn a little bit more about what it is that I'm seeing here? And for that reason, the winner I chose was Denise. I loved the little gifts she had. I loved the confetti video. I loved the balloons. I thought it was something that whether you're somebody who is on Denise's pages on a regular basis, or maybe you've just come across it from a hashtag, you're going to say, oh, 225, that's a unique number. What is this person celebrating? So I thought she did a really great way of creating a super fun visual that pops on social media that makes somebody say, what's going on here? I want to learn more. This is the one that, like I said, stopped me in my tracks, made me say, well, I want to know what she's talking about. She made it super easy. 225 Zillow reviews. Wow, that sounds impressive, right? When somebody says, I have 225 reviews. And then she also linked to the reviews so that people could, in one touch, see some of the great things that her customers and fans were saying about her. So great job, Denise. Loved the creative, loved the visual, and you get my vote.
Boom. Wow. So that was a good what and why, and I hadn't thought about that. There's no doubt, you would have stopped on this one. Before we go on to Justin to announce the winner and his why, what are some ideas? Because I felt like one of the reasons we didn't get more submissions is people just like, oh, be creative about sharing my testimonial. Like, what does that mean? Like that's just not even a skill that our industry has. So obviously, we now have an idea that when you hit milestones, create a picture that's, scroll stopping and post milestones. So that is a move in the mortgage coach community now. But what are some other things that you think loan officers should do when it comes to let's just say Bestimonial for this month? What are some ideas?
I think it's about identifying and sharing an emotion. Humans are emotional beings, right? That's how we connect to other people, is when there's a shared sense of emotion. And so what Denise did was tap into the celebratory element of, I'm celebrating getting these reviews because I love helping people. And that's really, at the end of the day, what we're all in the business of doing, right, is helping other people. So she tapped into making that a celebratory thing that other people could say, oh yeah, I get it. I see that you're helping people. Maybe I want you to help me too. So I think finding that emotion, and celebration is a super fun emotion or event that you could make it. The number thing too is also great. Like anytime you're hitting a milestone, and it doesn't have to be, 225 is a huge milestone, but 1 is a great number. Getting your first review is certainly something to celebrate. Getting your 10th review or testimonial is certainly something to celebrate, because the thing that I think it's easy to lose sight of sometimes is, if you are in the mortgage space, you are in the dream making space. You are helping make people's dreams come true. You're making their lives better. You're helping people with the biggest, scariest, most intimidating purchase of their entire lives. So for me, the entire power of testimonials is the human element, and I'm one person helping this other person or this other family with something really, really important in their lives, and then conveying that to the third party, who's the person that's on your social media looking at that. So the more you can bring in that human element, that emotion, that feeling, the more power these testimonials are going to have.
Love it. So you crushed it. Love your why. Love your ideas strategically. If you're watching this live and you have a question for myself or one of our guests, put it in comments down below. And also, if you're watching the recording, this is something that we need to get better at as referral-based local mortgage and real estate professionals. We need to get great at story selling, taking the awesome stories about us told by other people and turning them into content that is scroll stopping, emotionally engaging, and helps us build credibility. So guys, we need to get good at it. If you think you're doing a great job, we're not done. Share your Bestimonial in the Mortgage Coach group. All you need to do is share something from your digital platform with the hashtag Bestimonial. There will be future rewards, but more importantly, the big reward is you're going to get more loans. So share with the community. So Justin Tucker, you're up to bat, my man. I just want to say, do you have any rants? Because Justin always has rants.
That's why I have a soapbox that I carry around with me everywhere. No, I think the important thing when I started thinking about this competition and really looking at the mistakes we make in our own business. I mean, we're fast to snap a shot of a review online and post it on our own social channels. But I really like making this distinction between a testimonial and a review, right? A review is on the third-party site. Someone's going to that site. They're reviewing your service. It could be good. It could be bad. But it's all happening in a third-party environment. The testimonial is controlled by us, the company, and we're seeking out that information. And so I think it's important to make that distinction because the best testimonial you can get is when you create a moment worth someone else talking about. Instead of talking about it yourself, they're the ones that want to go out and say it. It's almost kind of a testimonial to me is an online referral. And you're not always present when someone's giving a referral to you. So similar to this, I would love to see us sharing something someone else already said about us as opposed to seeking it out and being the ones that have to create that marketing opportunity. I mean, I think that's the mecca, is getting someone to doing something so special for someone that they want to get online and tell their whole community about it, tag you in it, and then you get this really authentic moment coming from them instead of something kind of pushed from us.
Love that. I love that. So everybody think about that. We know that. There's a difference between an online review where someone is giving feedback in a place we have no control, and they're not all good, And even sometimes the good ones, they'll say something that like, God, you said all those nice things, and why did you throw that sentence in there? But here's one lesson I had, is that we are just so underutilizing all the things, good and bad, that people say about us. It's like we're getting this 5-star review with these cool statements, and then we're like, next, myself included. And so I really, kind of learned that we need to spend more time on this. It's like getting the review or getting the testimonial is like, that's just setting the dinner appointment. I mean, that's just stepping up to the plate to get started. There's so much more we need to do with every review. So go ahead.
Well, you said something really interesting there, good and bad. And there's some humility and authenticity to even sharing the bad moments and saying, hey, we don't hit everyone out of the park and we learn from it. And we're always trying to get better. There's some transparency and humility from recognizing sometimes when we don't hit it out of the park like we had planned. So I love what you said there about the good and the bad in those scenarios.
Well, right on. So whether you want to say why you picked who you picked or who you picked, yeah. I'm going to pull up the screen and guys, remember, big prizes are coming. So the winner from Brittany is getting an hour with Brittany. And trust me, you just got like 3 minutes from Brittany and you got value. Imagine getting on a call with Brittany, the founder of Superfan, one of the top trending speakers in the mortgage and real estate space, and learning from her. So you got an hour with her, and then you're getting earbuds, like the power to communicate without a cord from Justin. So who did you pick and why?
So I'm going to agree with how Brittany assessed her pick. Does it make me want to stop? Is it engaging? And I think there's kind of 3 ways that you'll get me to stop. One is visually appealing. Does it just break the monotony of my news feed? And I kind of go, okay, that's interesting. Number 2 is the person saying something that seems really interesting or intriguing that I want to dive more into? And then number 3 would be, do I know the person they're talking to? And I want to listen to that person because I know them. And for that reason, I actually really like Josh Meadows. It was the longest, I think it was 14 or 15 minutes, but it captures a couple of those elements. First, he's very much talking about gratitude. I think his opening screen says, it's all about you. So he's refocusing what can be something very much pointed at us, refocusing and pointing it back out towards the client instead of himself, which I think is great positioning. Then he takes this opportunity to interview someone that other people, when you tag, are going to recognize that person. Oh, I know this person. What are they on this video for? And what are they saying? And do I want to know, what's on their mind? And then it comes through this process of education. It's, what is the process like? How did you pick your lender? We were able to close a loan that someone else wasn't able to close. Here's how we were able to do that. And what I also think it could be an interesting use case for this content is it's pillar content. It's a 14 or 15 minute video that could also be chopped up into, some sound bites, some 30-second clips, and be used in some other variations of marketing through, Instagram stories or little teaser ads or things like that. So I love that he came from a place of gratitude. I love that there's education in this. I love that I'm going to stop because it's positioned about me and I might recognize the person. So that for that reason, even though I generally would say in a testimonial world, smaller or shorter is better, I was really engaged with this post and loved listening to it to completion.
Love that. Brittany, any challenges? Like, we could have a little debate right here. Anything you want to add on that, or any debates you have to who you picked and why?
I agree with everything that Justin said, and I thought the video was great. Like I said, when we were setting up the contest, I was approaching this as somebody who was a new customer or somebody who was considering working with this mortgage professional for the first time. So for me, as somebody who's at the top of the funnel in the beginning of the decision stage, I may not be invested enough to watch a 15-minute video. I may not want to engage that deeply. So again, that was sort of the tiebreaker for me, was judging this as somebody who was at top of funnel. I would be more likely to stop at like a fun video or with a little GIF and maybe read a reviews than to watch a video. But that does not take away from the fact that I thought Josh's video was great and super entertaining. I actually watched it twice because I learned a lot, and there were a couple of things that the first time I was like, wait, what was it that he said? So I actually watched the video almost 2 entire times over the past couple of weeks. So I think he did an incredible job. I have absolutely no beef with that pick.
Well, and Brittany, that's the key, or that's the thing that stuck out to me, was even if I'm at top of the funnel or middle of the funnel, and maybe I've never gone through this process before, I might have some fear of what it's like to go through it, or what can I expect, or what kind of questions that I would have. And I think in today's world, people are spending a lot more time researching that before they reach out to you. And so, wanting to feel comfortable and have an idea of the process. And that's what I liked about this piece of content, is it was educational for someone who had been through it. And it was really educational for someone who hadn't been through it.
Yeah. Well, you really feel like you know Josh, right? You really get a sense of, wow, this is a really smart guy. He clearly knows what he's talking about. I think he could help me in this process. So it does an incredible job of conveying his the value and the expertise he has to add to make this an easier process for somebody who's maybe confused or overwhelmed because it's their first time.
Yeah, right on, guys. Well, so first of all, we got 2. So we've got 1 vote for Denise. We got 1 vote for Josh. We have a total of 4. Scott Harris. What are your thoughts? You've always got a lot of thoughts. For people that don't know Scott, this guy is like a genius. When it comes to social online reviews, this guy's innovating the space. So what do you think? What did you like and why?
All right. So if you can see my body language, I'm going to really, I'm in a lose-lose situation here. So you can, I'm going to try to draw on that big smile of Brittany's while she's talking. These are both customers. These are both great customers. They both did a great job. I think I would stop with the big 225. I think I liked that one. I think it'll get more views. But I'm in the user story business, and I love user stories. One of the things we're doing at the summit this year, just to give you an example, is we're honoring the best in the country in different verticals, and we're doing something we're calling behind the review, where we're going out and filming, users' stories and the impact that the loan had on their lives. And so we're getting deep in, and that's how we're opening. Like right before Brittany speaks, there will be a behind the review, probably a very emotional account of a user experience. So we love user stories, and so as much as I think it's a tie, I have to pick a winner. Josh dug into the user story, right? Josh dug in and made it fun, and I think if I'm at the top end of the funnel and I listen to this, I'm going to want to do business with this guy. And so I don't think it'll get as many views, but just between the two, I think I'd have to go with Josh. I think what both Justin and Brittany said was spot on, and you're right. I got to have Justin at the Create Well Summit. I love the energy, but Josh would have to be my pick. So.
God, you guys, I was like, as we were doing this contest, I was like, I am so hoping that all three of you guys were going to vote for the same person. And I'd be like, all right, guys, I'm out. Like, anybody who knows me, like, I'm Switzerland. You know, I mean, like, you know, most of the industry coaches and trainers are all friends and advocates of Mortgage Coach. Technology, you know, we integrate with everybody. And I actually have to pick a winner. Okay. Or pick a tie, you know, so either way, my vote really matters here. So, gosh, let's pull this back up. And I actually came into this with like, could literally vote for multiple people for multiple reasons. And I wanted to see if, you know, the commentary from the judges swayed me one way or the other. And I came into this, you know, with who I thought the winner was. And the conversation didn't sway me. I'm going to stick with the person who I picked. You know, Denise, I would say, in terms of creating online content that is both emotionally engaging and logically engaging, I mean, I'll just say it, Josh, she is the industry rock star. If anybody watches the interview I did with her right here, and you look at some of the content she's creating, Dan Keller, you know I love you, I interview you all the time. Denise is creating the best, you know, connect emotionally, connect intellectually content in the Mortgage Coach community. So Denise, you were there. But in this contest, I am gonna also pick Josh, which makes him the winner of the Bestimonial content. And really, you know, as I was having the internal conversation, like my own internal narrative on this, I'm picking this one because it's just so important. You know, I mean, this is just a really important thing that Josh did. You know, the concept of a mortgage professional, and I love what you said, Scott, getting behind the story. Like, you tell me, if you're watching this call right now and you've done this, where you've interviewed a client who who gave you a good review or that was a great story, and you spent 15, 10 minutes interviewing them. Why'd you do it? What's your story? Like, we don't do this. We don't do this enough. We don't get feedback from our realtors. We don't get feedback from our mortgage professionals. And so forget about the fact that this is actually great marketing content and it's a testimonial. Like, do this because you'll be better. Like, be humble, be curious, have a conversation with your client. And I would push everybody in our community, like, document, like, go into this conversation like it may be something that I want to market. There may be some quotes on a market, but I want to go in with a humble, curious heart. I want to interview my client. I hope it turns into something like this with Josh, where I would just push it online. And then what Justin said, this is pillar content. You know, there's a lot of 10-second, 20-second, 1-minute videos. There are quotes that can now be made pretty in scroll stopping in Instagram. So we could say, oh, let's go get a photo with this person and, create some, packaged content. There's just like so much that could be done with this. So Josh is the winner. I'm so pumped about this contest because we got two great things. We now know in the Mortgage Coach community that we should celebrate milestones, and everybody watching this, what's your next milestone? And start thinking about how you're going to celebrate that in social media, how you're going to package it. And then my hope that will make me feel like, the interviews I do, the content that I create has value, is that you guys are going to do your own interview. You're going to document a conversation with a client, realtor, or, customer, the borrower that you serve, and you're going to leverage that in social media. You're going to share that. So guys, we are at the halfway point. I'm going to give each of you a minute, just to kind of give your wrap up thoughts on this and maybe a push to the community for Bestimonial 2.0. Brittany, you got a minute or so of thoughts before we go into wrap up mode on this topic.
I think you've done a great job of covering everything. Like you said, I agree with everything all of you guys have said. One thing that I thought was so great about the video that we saw from Josh too was a lot of times people don't ask great questions, and that's why they don't get great content. Because if you don't ask great questions, you're not going to get great answers that create the types of, amazing pull quotes that can be turned into great, scroll stoppers. And I thought he did a really great job of that. So that I thought was a really good takeaway from the video for people who maybe say, I've never interviewed a customer before. I don't know what types of questions to ask. I don't know what to say. Watch this video. It is a great case study in how to pull out that emotional content that you're going to be able to use. So great job. I think he's a very deserving winner.
All right. And Brittany, I'm looking forward to seeing you at Create Wow Social Survey. You will be one of the keynotes. So looking forward to seeing you there. And thank you for the time you commit to the community. When we transition to the second half of the call, I'd love to have you stay, but if you got to go, I respect that too. But feel free to stay on the whole hour of the call. Cool?
Yeah.
Brittany. All right. Justin Tucker, any final thoughts or kind of summarizing words?
Yeah, I think even though testimonials are talking about us, try to always reposition them back towards the client, make it client facing. I also think it's important to just keep that little thought process of creating moments worth talking about. I love the background of all of the word wow that's on us, because if you create those moments, people will talk about them. You won't have to ask them to talk about them. So I think about what are the things you're doing that people will go out and create those testimonials without us having to curate or ask for them. And then I did love the idea about revisiting it, not letting the content stop in that moment, but coming back 6 months later, a year later, and saying, like, what is this home meant to you? What did it mean to you to be able to move, into this neighborhood or this location? And so keep the content or keep the story going. So those would be my three takeaways from the call today.
Well, thank you for being on it. I hope to continue to have your leadership in the mortgage coach community. By the way, Scott, Justin is an amazing speaker. So I don't know if you have any open space at the WOW Summit, but he'd be a good dude to have.
Definitely.
So thank you, brother. So Scott, any summarizing words, anything you want to share as we wrap up this topic?
Yeah, I think we get into the busyness of our lives, and we're just checking boxes for customers, and we forget that what we're doing is really having a big impact on customers. All right, we're changing lives in the mortgage industry. And I think not only does that fill us up when we go back to the customer and get that story, but other folks, you're doing a great job for your customers. And other folks, if they knew the great job that you do, there'd probably be a line at your door. And so beyond all the other outcomes, going back and getting behind those stories and just extracting those stories just for yourself, not in addition to what it's going to do for your business. I think that the good job you're doing for your customers, if you can collect it and share it beyond just reviews, right? Go get in front of those customers and find out how much you impacted your lives. I think it'll fill you up. And I think it's great content, and other people will want to have that same experience.
All right. So guys, it's not too late. If you're on this call, you're a loan officer, your head of marketing, find out if they are going to the WOW Summit. Whether you guys use social survey or whether you don't, you're invited. Again, marketing leaders. I mean, this is not a loan officer event. This is a director of marketing, C-suite is getting together and celebrating the wow that we're creating for families, how to capture the wow, how to package the wow, and how to promote the wow. So Scott, for anybody that's listening to this and they're like, what's WOW Summit? Where do they go? What's the link?
Yeah, so it is a marketing and culture summit. It gets a little weird. We don't sleep a lot, but we sleep in on Saturday after the summit. You can go to createwowsummit.com. It's September 4th through the 6th. Whether you're a customer or not, you should have a fantastic time and get a lot out of it.
So Scott or someone on his team will put a link down below. If you're watching this in our Facebook group, there'll be a link to learn more about WOW Summit. Justin, if you could also put a link to your podcast and anything else you want to share with the mortgage coach community, I'd appreciate it. And Brittany, didn't you just come out with some type of a new book or white paper? What did you just come out with?
I do. I just released an ebook. It's all about what I call the WAVE method, which is making your customers feel welcomed, appreciated, validated, and engaged to take them from disengaged to absolute raving super fans.
Awesome. Will you share a link to that down below?
Yes, and it is just
Cool.
BrittanyHodak.com/wave. So
Boom. Check it out, guys. So we're going to transition. Josh Metal, you are the winner. Denise Donahue, you are a rock star. Please continue to share your bestimonials in our Facebook group, and I'm looking forward to others sharing. And if you're, for the people that did submit and didn't win, thank you. We appreciate you participating. It always takes courage to share. There's a lot of people that gawk on social media. By the way, nothing wrong with that. Like, participate, like, love, share. But to make a post, it's not easy. Now, some people, we get so good at it, we make a lot of posts, so it's easy. But for those of you that don't post more, best way to learn in the mortgage coach community is to participate. So we're going to transition. I'm going to bring Jacob Gibbs, our head of technology, into the call. We're going to show some mortgage strategies. And here's the way I position it coming out of this testimonial conversation is the way you get great online reviews is you wow people. You surpass their expectations. Like, if you just meet someone's expectations, you might get a 4-star review, but you're not going to get a 5-star. You've got to be like, I love this person, surpass expectations. And the Mortgage Coach Advice Engine is the wow engine. Like, when a family is getting a mortgage, whether it's a purchase or a refi, if you can teach them something they didn't already know, if you can get them to look at the mortgage in a way that, transcends just getting a loan, that is the beginning of a wow experience. That is the beginning of a 5-star review. So Jacob and I are going to show our advice engine. We've launched this quite a bit, so we're not going to get into the what is it and why is it, and we're just going to create a couple mortgage strategies. Jacob, could you confirm that you're on, and could you share your desktop?
I am indeed. Thank you, Dave.
Right on. So why don't you, hey, Jacob, what do you think hearing the conversation we just had, should we start with the cost of waiting, or should we start with our purchase strategy?
I think the down payment option strategy is a good one to start with, primarily because the cost of waiting is really, it's for getting people off the fence. So it may not be for every borrower, but you're going to want to show different down payment options or different rate options for every borrower. So I think it's a more global strategy that people can apply right away.
Yeah, and before Jacob starts walking you through it and explaining it, here's my thought. Every loan officer, these are the most common situations we get into as we're helping a first-time buyer, a move-up buyer. They're like, oh, what are different down payment options, or what are different purchase price options? And when you can turn something like that into, whoa, I hadn't thought of it like that before, or wow, you really netted this out beyond any other loan officer I've ever talked to or seen, that's powerful. So Jacob, why don't you walk through the mortgage coach strategy at hand, and I'll give some commentary along the way.
All right, great. Thanks, Dave. So there are going to be 2 items I want to show you today, and it's all going to revolve around using the new strategy templates function inside of Advice Engine. I'll show you how to create one from scratch first, just so we can walk through that. But then I also want to show you how you can repurpose your existing files to turn them into strategy templates. So as we go through this, just keep in mind, we're going to build from scratch first, but I'm going to show you a fast way to repurpose other files as well. So our project is going to be for down payment options here, and I want to create this as a template. So the first thing I'm going to do is, after I hit new client here, you notice there's a new toggle up at the top that asks, is this a strategy template? Click yes on that, and you'll see 2 little asterisks appear here. And that's just basically telling you that, yep, this is going to be a strategy template. So now we're just going to name this. So I'm just going to call it down payment options. And then you don't have to fill out all the information on this. Remember, you're going to be repurposing this for new customers, so you don't need specific borrower information anywhere in here. What I am going to do is I'm going to jump straight over to products, and for product 1, I'm going to do a 20% down. And we'll make this a 30-year fixed. Now, if you're used to using your product templates, you can certainly add the product from a template here. I'm just going to do it from scratch. And you'll get to see just generally about how fast you should be going through these. Now, notice I'm not moving my mouse around all over the place. I'm actually just tabbing through the fields. It makes it a little bit faster for those of you who are more keyboard people than mouse people. So just keep it in mind, you can tab through just about every field in here. And then once I've got the basic loan parameters in, I'm going to attach one of my closing cost templates. So pretty straightforward. I'm just going to choose my conventional 30 fixed. And I can make any edits as I see fit here if they're not exactly what I want, but I'm gonna hit apply to loan. And then finally, I need to put in my monthly costs. So I'd always do these as factors. And then 20% down, so there's no MI on this one. Probably not gonna need any reserves either. So I've got my first product down. I'm gonna add another product. Now product 2 is going to be a 10% down, 30-year fixed. And for this one, I'm gonna use the copy button. I don't wanna have to redo all the work I just did on that 20-year, so I'm gonna do copy from another product. I'm gonna copy the 20% down and hit OK. And now I'm just gonna change my down payment percentage to 10%, alter my rate. It's probably gonna be just a tad bit higher. And again, obviously feel free to substitute today's rates. I'm just pulling generic rates here. I don't need to do anything with my closing costs because I already pulled those in from the copy. My monthly costs are all set here except for the mortgage insurance. This is a 10% down, so I'm putting my mortgage insurance factor here. And then I'd probably need reserves on this one, so I'll do my taxes and my hazard insurance reserves. Finally, I'm going to add a third product to the mix here. Now, product 3 is going to be a 5% down. Again, I'm going to use that copy button. Don't want to have to redo everything I just did, so I'll copy the 10%. I'm going to change my down payment to 5%, alter my rate slightly. Closing costs are already there, monthly costs are already there, but I probably need to increase my MI factor. And now I've got 3 different loan scenarios against each other. And you notice there's a current mortgage there. It's because I skipped my goals. So I'm just going to check purchase a new home as the goal, jump back over to analysis. And there we go. So now I've got my loan programs isolated here. There's a 20%, a 10%, and a 5%. Again, no borrower information at all on this. But the critical part of this is in the main screen of the client, I chose, yes, this is a strategy template. Now here's why. If we go back to our home screen now, you notice that file isn't in my recent client list. It's actually in my strategy templates list now. So now that I have my down payment options, if I want to basically copy this out to any new borrower, I can do this from my phone, I can do this from my, my computer, wherever I want to do this. All I have to do is tap on this one time. It'll ask me what I want to do. Do I want to copy this to a new client or edit the template? Well, I want to copy this to a new client. So this now builds a new client. So this one's going to be for Dave Savage, my client. And all I need to do to get this relevant for Dave is update my rates and purchase prices. So let's say Dave is actually looking at a $400,000 property. So I'll alter the purchase price and maybe rates today are slightly lower. Go to my 10%. Alter my rate there. Oops. Go to my 5%, put in my purchase price. And then maybe my rate is slightly higher there. And then all I have to do now is when I get to the very last screen, you can see all my loan products are on there. I'm just going to go to the preview here, assign it today's quote date, and then generate the link. Now this presentation is actually ready to go with one exception. It needs a video on it. So always make sure when you send these out, hit add audio video here. This is going to bring up your webcam so you can record it. But I want to show you what the output of this presentation looks like. Now you saw how I created it. It took me a couple of minutes to create it, but you saw how I copied it. That took me about 45 seconds to finish, and this is the finished product. So we've got your branding up here, and then we've got our 20% down option, 10%, and 5%, all relevant to the price point Dave was looking at and the rates that I can get for him on each one of these products. A couple of clicks, ready to roll.
Got it. So guys, a couple cliff notes I want everybody to get is that it took, I don't know if it was 5 minutes, but more than 3 minutes to create the first one by scratch, but it took less than a minute to do the second one. And if you compare what you're looking at right now to a fee worksheet, to think about when you're doing down payment options for a family, or you're doing MI, different comparisons, different levels of advice, this is a complete wow. And so literally within a minute, within 3 minutes, you can create this, awesome experience for every single buyer. Every single buyer is like purchase price options. Maybe they're clear on their down payment, but they're not clear on the price that they want to buy. And then remember, when they get pre-approved, the story changes. And now you can update that easily. That's part of the reason we created the advice engine, is we wanted to make it easier to create these analysis for clients, and we wanted to make it faster for the mortgage coach community of loan officers that use it. So Justin, I don't know if you're still here, but it's kind of a gift having you on a call in the mortgage coach community, knowing that you lead so many lenders and loan officers, or at least you touch. Any questions or comments?
No questions. I mean, comments. This is awesome. I mean, the ability to create that transparency and let people really know what scenarios are available to them and everything that they're getting into. I mean, I think that there's so much misinformation, or even just the fact that people don't understand. And this transparency and that data, I mean, that is a wow moment for sure.
Cool. So Jacob, anything else you want to show on this before we get to the cost of waiting? And I do want to make sure we show that, because while it's not for everyone, it's for the fence sitters. But let's face it, when a realtor has a fence sitter, or they have a move-up buyer that they're trying to get the listing so they can do the move-up, when this is valuable, this is really valuable. Anything else you want to show?
No, I think we can transition to the other one, and then at the very end, I'll show everybody how to repurpose existing files to be used as templates.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
All right, so cost of waiting, we're going to start it the exact same way. We're going to do a new client. We're going to check, yes, this is a strategy template. And I'm actually going to make this a marketing proposal. The difference between individual and marketing is that individual includes first and last name. It also includes the subject property information, whereas marketing omits those from your presentation. So I'm just going to call this one cost of waiting to purchase. And then I'll select my goal to purchase a new home. And I'll jump straight over to the loan products here, and we'll use 300. And we'll do a 10% down. Now, the trick to a cost of waiting is you can show as many products as you want, or you can show very simple. I'm going to show you the short version of a cost of waiting, which is, here's what today's financing looks like. Here's what it would look like if you waited and both the rates and the price went up. So right now I'm inputting today's financing, what I can get them right now on this 10% down, $300,000. Let's say I can do 4.25 for my rate, 30-year term. Use my closing cost template. Then I'm going to hit to the monthly costs. And this one is going to have MI. All right, so now that I've got my first product, I need to add another product. And this one is going to be called Wait Too Long. I'm going to copy the product that I just did, product one. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, you waited too long. And in that time, the price went up by $15,000. And the rate could potentially go up 0.5 point. And you can use bigger points or bigger price increases, completely up to you. I usually stay a little bit conservative on these. Last step here, I just need to make sure and rename product one. So this is just buy now. And then now if I go to my analysis screen, you can see we've got a really easy case to make for why you should not wait. It's going to save you $179 if you buy now. It'll save you $10,000 in interest in MI over time if you buy now. And then in the long term here, $18,000 difference in interest in MI. But one of the key factors to a cost of waiting presentation is you can change the benchmarks. So you can tell a slightly different story. Watch what happens to these graphs when I benchmark it against the buy now. Now I'm telling the story of it'll cost you $180 more to wait too long. It'll cost you $10,000 over the 60-month period of time. Now this presentation it's now a strategy template. So if I want to spawn this for a new customer, I'm just going to jump back over to my strategy templates, click on cost of waiting to purchase, copy to a new client. And this can be for my realtor partner. So maybe it's like buy now with Andrew Realtor. And then my buy now option is there. So I'm just going to alter the price to whatever property he's representing right now. Maybe it's $317. And then the wait too long, we'll bring it up to $330. And then I can leave my rates or I can alter those as I see fit, but this presentation is done. So I'm just going to go to the preview here, make sure to tie a quote date to that rate, and then generate the share link and send this bad boy out.
So, hey,
now,
real quick,
go ahead,
Jacob. I want you to, one, take the link, to that. I want you to put it in chat. Anybody that's watching this, I'm going to put it in Facebook once Jacob puts it in chat. If you click on this link, one, you'll get to have a sample of a, why buy now or cost of waiting analysis. And then Jacob, could you show the live feature? Because this is a wow. I mean, this is a wow of insight for a family. Like, oh, I hadn't thought of it that before. And then when he starts to move the technology and drive that, it's a wow. And then we're going to have a couple minutes before we wrap up today's call. The most common wow, like way that every customer doesn't think about prepaying their mortgage and how much interest they'd save. So Jacob, let's show the live feature real quick. I think we've already talked about video, and then let's show like a same payment refi with a prepay of the mortgage. You don't have to build it out. I just want to show an example of it.
Okay. Dave,
and I have saved this in Facebook now.
I put the link in chat, but I can only chat to the panelists. Would you mind sharing that with the entire group?
Yeah, you got it.
Thank you, Dave. Okay, so hopefully you all are seeing the link in your chat here. I'm going to show you what we call Mortgage Coach Live. You can initiate this anywhere inside of the advice engine by simply going to preview and highlight. You're going to choose what type of presentation you issued and then hit OK. Now this is going to bring up a version of the report that is specific for you as the loan officer. The borrower's report, they can hit the more info sections, they can tap on things, but they can't do things like highlight. So if I'm getting my borrower on the phone, and you guys are all my borrower right now, I've just sent you my link and you're looking at it and you call me up and you're like, Jacob, what is this? Help me understand what we're looking at. Okay, well,
so
thank
guys,
you all.
It is in live now, guys. So if you go to chat and you click on it, you can literally follow along. You think of Jacob, he's on the phone, he's talking to you, and he's driving this live experience. So go ahead and click on it. Go ahead, Jacob.
And did you post that to just panelists or everybody, Dave, just to make sure?
Everybody. I posted it to everybody in both Facebook and everybody in Zoom, to everybody. Oh, I did it to just all panelists. All right, so I'm getting it to everybody. Sorry, but let's not wait. Let's get it out. Let's go ahead and drive it, Jacob.
All right,
but
cool.
It is to everybody now. I got it right this time.
All right, thank you, Dave. Appreciate it. Okay, so if you would, go ahead and click on that link, and then when you get to my disclosure, just hit OK on the disclosure, and you're going to be landing on a screen that looks just like the one I have right now. Now, this is when the live experience can begin. So you as me as the originator, you're my borrower. You've called me up and you said, hey, Jacob, explain this thing to me. I've clicked on it. I'm looking at it. And I'm coming to you and I'm saying, okay, well, there's two options I want to show you today. The first option that I just highlighted on your screen is what would happen if you bought right now. Now, as you can see, our purchase price is $317,000. We've got an interest rate of 4.25%. Now that's what we can get you right now. Your payment net's about $2,000. Your cash to close is going to be around $35,000. Now, if you wait, there's some potential bad things that can happen. One, we can get into a bidding war and your price could go up on this property. Two, the mortgage market is very volatile. Mortgage-backed securities trade constantly, which means rates can go up or down at the flick of a wrist. So if you wait too long, you could potentially lose a half a point on your rate, which means now you're going to pay even more. It's going to be $21.74. Your cash to close also goes up on this. Now, if we look at the graphs on the right, you'll notice that the buy now option will save you $170 a month. But if you look over the 60-month period, it's actually going to save you just short of $10,000 in interest and mortgage insurance over time. Now, I've popped out a more info section for you so you can see what this looks like. But the interest in MI between these two is about a $10,000 difference. That's the key.
And,
now
and also values could go up too. So Jacob could have made an appreciation rate difference and values could go up too. And that could further increase the cost of waiting.
Absolutely. And finally, I want to show you the long term. Now, when we initially talked, you talked about a 15-year point where you wanted to retire. I want to show you how much interest you'll pay in 15 years between each of these options. If you buy right now and things stay as they are, meaning today's rate, today's price, you're going to spend about $160,000 on interest and mortgage insurance over that 15-year period of time. If you wait and rates go up and price goes up, you could potentially pay around $190,000. So that's a $30,000 interest disparity over the long term just from waiting a month. I mean, that can be pretty substantial. So hopefully you've enjoyed what I've showed you here. Don't forget, you can click on all these more info sections to really drive through all the details in the report. If you want to see the full payment breakdown, see how much your taxes and insurance would be on each one, how much your mortgage insurance would be. You can even drive into the closing costs. You can see that I've itemized all the fees for you. We talked about what the loan origination cost would be, and there's going to be an underwriting cost. And then you've got some reserves and premiums that you'll be responsible for as well. And then don't forget, we can actually, we can do a lot of things with reinvestment too. So when we circle back on this, after we're getting closer to purchasing the property, I can show you a couple of ways to shorten your freedom point by making extra payments to principal over time. So hopefully you've enjoyed this. That's how I present that, Dave. So if you're ready, I will move along to the refinance proposal.
Yeah, just real quick, like try it like in a minute. I want people to see how easy it is to add a prepayment, and then let's get some feedback from Justin and let's wrap it up.
Okay. I'm going to be building this from scratch, Dave, because I don't think I have a refi that I can use.
Well, you know what? Don't do that. Go back to this buy now, and just let's take the monthly difference. And I'm not saying you would necessarily do this, guys, but you could take the monthly difference. What is it here? $170, and apply that. Say, hey, what if you took that $170 and applied it to your principal every month? And what would that do to your wealth? How much interest would that save you? How much faster would you pay off your home? And this is something that we advocate. Every time you do a refi, you should, one of the questions you should always ask is, how old do you want to be when your home's paid off? And you should always be showing people the power of prepaying the mortgage and or the power of investing that money with their financial planner. So if you could just show a prepay real quick, because I want to, it's a good wow moment, and then we'll wrap it up. Sure thing. All right, so when you're in this client, you just go to the analysis screen here. You're going to click on the adjust reinvestment strategy, and once this button pops up, you can see actually how much you're saving up at the top here. Green is obviously savings, red is a cost. But on the buy now option, we've got $170.44 that we can put back into either principal, or we can put it into new investment vehicles. But we'll look at principal right now. When we do that and then go forward, you can see that our payments are now equal because we're making the same payment for both. But if you look at the mortgage presentation here, and whoops, that's the wrong one. Let's go and preview this guy again. If you look at our mortgage presentation here, you can see our new freedom point, instead of 30 years, is now 24.25 years. And that was just from me putting in that 170.44 that was the payment difference, just straight back into principal on this buy now option. So paying it off in 5 years faster. Also, look at what we've done to the interest in MI over the long term. It's now a $40,000 disparity between these two products instead of 30 like we saw before. That $10,000 5-year savings is now turned to $12,000 5-year savings, just because they're making that extra payment, which is not only knocking down the balance and gaining them equity, it's also knocking down the amount of interest they have to pay over time. Love it, Jacob. Thank you, man. So guys, we're here to make it easy and fast to learn to do this and to create it. So log into the advice engine today. Make sure, 1, you have strategy templates. 2, these videos, like if you've created 50 TCAs, you're going to get advanced strategies. If it's a test account, if you're creating your first one, you're going to get how to. And here's the deal, guys. And Justin, I'm going to give you the final thoughts. But this is really the difference. Like, go from price to advice. This is what you're sending to most consumers, is you're just sending them price when you could be giving them advice. And if you want to get testimonials, you want to get a lot of ammunition of the value that you're creating, it really is a time in the marketplace where just giving a quote that's not mobile optimized, can't put a video on it, is no longer the best way forward. Justin, I'll give you the final thoughts. Well, actually, we still got Brittany. So Brittany, you have anything to add? Any final thoughts before we wrap up today's call?
Well, I don't know after that, Dave. I'm ready to buy now. So if you know any mortgage professionals, let me know.
I was going to say,
bring it.
You when I was buying my house, that was incredible. I would have loved something like that as a consumer.
Yeah, I mean, I work with thousands of mortgage professionals all across the nation, or our company does. And I can tell you right now, guys, there is a massive gap between what we just saw and what most people do. And being able to give people that education, their options, know their scenarios, that is a moment we're talking about. That creates that testimonial. So Dave, I appreciate letting me stay on the call and just learning more about your system and the system and what people are doing with it, how it can work, because that right there, I wish that would have happened through my process. So I think that's amazing.
Cool. Thank you, brother. Brittany, any final thoughts from you? You always just say the wisest things.
No pressure.
Any last thoughts?
No, I mean, I think a lot of times when you're in something, you don't realize what people know and they don't know, right? So I think a lot of the things, Jacob, that you just showed us, some loan officers might take for granted that people know. They're like, oh, well, everybody knows this and everybody should know that. But when you have a first-time home buyer or even a second or third-time home buyer, a lot of times you don't know what they don't know and they don't know what they don't know, which makes it even harder, which is why it's so powerful to present what you just presented and to say, to take it to information, like go from, just giving them numbers to teaching them and educating them is so powerful. That was so incredible. I wish I could go back in time 3 years when I bought my house and have something like that, because I know I made mistakes. I know I didn't do everything the right way because I didn't have someone to do that for me. I didn't have someone to teach me. So absolutely everything Justin said, if you guys can do that, you're going to be creating testimonials. You're going to be getting advocates, raving super fan customers who are going to tell all their friends that they need to work with you. Love
it. So guys, hopefully you got value from today's call. If you're watching the recording, give it a like. If you got so much value that you loved it, love it. Share it with your mortgage friends. Reminder to everybody, we want to keep this Bestimonial going. It's not, I don't have a reward for everybody other than you're going to get better at sharing them.
Or maybe there are rewards. Maybe it's a surprise and delight. Maybe you guys just have to keep doing the hashtag to see when some prizes drop in unexpectedly.
Challenge. I like that. I will do that. I'll come up with some surprise gifts. And guys, if you're part of the Mortgage Coach team and you're not giving every family this total cost analysis experience, you're making a choice to be good, not great. Delivering a fee worksheet, it's good. It's good enough. If you really showed up well, you can win business with that. But if you want to be great, you need to give people a great presentation every time. So thanks for joining us for an hour. I hope you got a lot of value. Brittany, thank you for staying. Justin, thank you for staying. Jacob, you crushed it as always, brother. Thank you, man. And everybody have a great day.
One last thing before we close. I know I said I would show you guys how to repurpose your templates. There is a link in chat to our Support Center article that will show you how to repurpose an existing file to turn it into a strategy template. So click on that one or just search strategy from our help menu and you can find the video on how to do this.
Thank you, Jacob. If you're not using strategy templates, you're also making a choice to take more time to do things than you need to. If time is valuable to you, make sure you set up your strategy templates today. Take care, everybody.